Hello and welcome back to Bring It podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
So, for the few people that decided, oh wow, I've just watched this big series, I'm going to jump on and see what the Bring It boys thought.
There's going to be loads.
Well, you know. So everyone's probably thinking about the finale, but I think that's cheating. You can't just go straight to finale with a review.
You can.
Probably can't, to be fair.
If you were just reviewing the last episode, you could.
Yeah,
You could, but we're not, are we?
No.
No.
So, yeah, okay. So the it was 2 episodes, wasn't it, to begin with?
Yes.
I'm getting
Yeah,
mixed up with the boys because the boys did 3.
The boys.
And then the third one came out very quickly. So those first 3 episodes, we had like a lot of time to reflect on. And I remember thinking I was quite dissatisfied. I thought it was a kind of Logan type feel, wasn't it? Whereas like it was bringing back a character that kind of aged, and it was quite a depressing version of like what's quite I don't really know what you'd call like X-Men and Star Wars. It's just quite action packed, and you know what to expect kind of thing. And then they were kind of doing a Logan type origin story, or not origin story.
A
like
Logan
legacy
type story.
Return.
Yeah. I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah, I can't lie. I enjoyed watching it a bit, but at the same, that's about it. I don't think I got much from those first 3 episodes.
See, I watched.
No, you go, Tom. Go on. That's fine.
I watched the first 5 episodes in one go, literally in about 2-3 hours, however long it took, probably 3 hours, and so I think having that break between episodes would have made me more dissatisfied, because I would have been like, nothing really happened, but watching it in like the 5 episode thing, it felt like a film to me more than anything. And I think as a film, watching it in one go, obviously not including the last episode, watching it in one go really worked. I feel like it flowed better episode to episode than week by week.
It's funny that, isn't it? It's a bit like Game of Thrones. A lot of people who watch Game of Thrones in time with everything, they were very, very annoyed by season 8. Whereas the people who watch Game of Thrones, like, they kind of just caught on the bandwagon, like me a bit. Like, they were less annoyed at season 8, even though they could objectively say it was way worse.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't feel as emotionally betrayed by it, because it felt like because they'd just gone through it. There was no waiting period, no time to like discuss it constantly. I wonder if people have done that with Better Call Saul, because I was watching Better Call Saul from the start, and it was a weekly episode, and it was very, very slow moving, and the payoff is like minimal, because it takes so long to get something to happen. And I do like it, but I can imagine someone binging through that would have a higher opinion of it, because that payoff doesn't take as long. Literally doesn't take as long, in a way. But it's interesting how it's different for us.
I was thinking while I was watching it, I think maybe after episode 4, I thought it would have been better as a film. So it's interesting that you said that, Tom, because I feel like they've.
Yeah, I think it's.
Okay, you go.
It's a story. I think a lot of the Disney Plus shows, there's 6 episodes isn't enough to tell a TV show story, but it's also too long for a film.
They're in a bit of an uncomfortable part of the timeline as well, where they can't really do anything like massive, like explosive, because obviously the Empire doesn't start getting taken down till episode 4. So making it like a 6 episode story was always going to maybe drag its feet a little bit. But
it's more money as well.
Yeah, and is it more money?
Yeah, because people have to pay for like a lot of the time they have to pay for like 2 months of Disney Plus if they're getting it just for this or something.
I guess it's a little bit more money.
And also this, you get to drag out the hype and everything like that. I was just adding up in my head, and I was thinking it could be like a 3-hour film, because that's 4 episodes roughly.
Yeah,
of what this was.
Yeah,
and that was Batman. Isn't it?
I tend to think people probably needed to temper their expectations going into this, because I just saw it as like a sort of return to like a nostalgic character.
Yeah, same.
I thought going in, there's going to be obviously Ewan McGregor in the main role and Hayden Christensen coming back as well. I wasn't really that fussed about where they took it. I wasn't expecting it to be like a proper space opera. I just thought it would be fun, and for me, it was quite fun.
Yeah, I was expecting just a sort of like a fun time and something that I didn't have to get too heavily invested in. Because if I'm being honest, I don't think like many of the Star Wars films and TV shows have brilliant writing.
No,
I don't think it's ever been a franchise for brilliant, well thought out writing that consistently makes sense.
No one talks about the writing when they talk about Star Wars. They talk about the lightsabers.
Yeah, the creativity in the world.
Yeah,
and like I think it's. I wouldn't say this show is particularly worse or better than the majority of like the Star Wars lore in terms of the writing, because there are obviously some like bits where you're like, but there's bits like that in any of the shows and any of the films.
Well, it's
especially
very vast, isn't it?
As well.
Yeah,
it's a very like vast example field there. Like, I mean, you like comparing sort of. Oh, it's difficult because everyone goes like Empire Strikes Back, but then like I think sometimes Empire Strikes Back was a great movie, but like people kind of talk about it like it's untouchable, and I don't think that's true at all. I think it's just because it's a classic, and
I don't really think any of them are untouchable. Like,
no,
well,
I don't think any of them are. I don't think any of them are perfect films.
No, but then like some of them are like just like they're the sort of thing you would talk about for a long time because it brings something. And Revenge of the Sith was one of those films, I thought. And there was stuff wrong with it, but there was emotional impact that hasn't really been matched in its own kind in other films that I've watched.
I think,
what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Sorry, like, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, what was it? What was the emotional impact?
It was it's like I'd have to formulate like a bunch of bullet points, but I suppose it comes from like the whole like disconnect between Obi Wan and Anakin, and then obviously that huge long fight scene with sort of a cut between the Yoda one and their one, and their fight scene was like drawn out, but it wasn't like anything drawn out is usually criticised, and no one criticises how drawn out it was because it was so well done.
I wouldn't say it was remarkably emotional.
What,
no.
Revenge of the Sith? The end?
I'd say it's entertaining.
The end
I
of
wouldn't
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it resonated with me at all emotionally. I'd say the finale of this show resonated more with me emotionally than Revenge of the Sith.
It was better done than Hayden Christensen screaming, "I hate you!" Like Eric Cartman.
But then
when his mask gets like cut here, his performance there was so much better than the end.
That really ending scene was unbelievable. That was so good.
Yeah, I think that has much more emotional weight than Revenge of the Sith, and I love Revenge of the Sith.
The thing is, though, I think that has alienated a lot of like super fans that might be listening to this, or whether it's the shorts or whether it's the podcast in general. Like, I'm pretty sure anyone who's a big Star Wars fan would say Revenge of the Sith was like a huge emotional impact at the end of it.
They can't see the shorts I'm wearing. I don't know why you're talking about my shorts.
Yeah. Also, I don't think I've ever, apart from you, obviously, I don't think I've ever talked to anyone who thinks of Star Wars as a massively emotional franchise.
I think, no, it probably is emotional as in they're attached to it because they watched it when they were a kid.
Yeah, no, attached to it because, like, entertainment value. I don't think I've ever, it's never been the type of film to make you cry.
It's got its moments.
Make you feel like heartache.
The moment that comes to mind for me when I think of like emotional impact is when Han Solo gets put into the ice at the end of 5.
Yeah.
And you
I feel like that hit harder.
You found that more emotional than Obi-Wan talking to Anakin?
I think I'd say probably when I was younger I would have enjoyed it, but now I can watch it and the dialogue's weird. It takes away from the emotional impact. I feel like you can say you enjoy those films, and you can say you like the characters. The actors in the way they played the character, but him going, "I have the higher ground, Anakin," just does sound stupid.
I mean, that's weird, but I don't consider that the part that I remember when I get like emotional thinking about it. I think of basically when he lost the fight, and then when Obi-Wan started monologuing. That's the part I remember. That's the frame.
I think what doesn't help is the fact that whole scene and that whole conversation is memed. Like every single line from that conversation is a meme now.
This will be too though. Like I thought the finale was great, by the way, because I thought the series was not great. I was holding off to try and say the finale. I thought redeemed it quite a bit because I thought most of what it tried to do was like almost perfectly done.
I don't know if I'd agree that the conversation between Obi-Wan and Anakin in this show is going to end up being memed as much, just for the fact that I think the dialogue is written better and the performances are more restrained than they are in Revenge of the Sith. They're very over the top.
Yeah.
I think Hayden Christensen has grown like immensely as an actor, and I think he's much better in this show than he was in in Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones.
He doesn't do a lot.
He doesn't do a lot, but the time he has, he's really good.
As the Padawan, I thought it was a bit cringy, actually.
And with Darth Vader as well, I think the effect it had on his voice, where it was part James Earl Jones, part him, part like raspiness, I think that helped immensely with the emotional weight of the scene.
Yeah, I think that was much needed in a way. It was almost like I can't think of the word for it, but people this disconnect between Darth Vader in the 80s and Anakin Skywalker in the 2000s. It's never quite fit in like a jigsaw, is it? Like it won't really you kind of understand it. Didn't feel the same, did it? Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like they were two different characters.
Yeah, and it blended it quite nicely. Like
it blended it, but it also sort of like distanced them as well. Because there's a line where he says, like, "You didn't kill Anakin, I did."
Yeah.
So it sort of makes it seem like Darth Vader and Anakin are two completely different people, two different personalities within him. But it also helped to bridge them together. I felt it did really well with both of those things.
But then he has his redemption. Well, not redemption because he's not redeemable. But he has his film redemption in obviously Return of the Jedi, which means that I interpret when he said, "I did it, I killed Anakin."
Yeah,
that sounded like him trying to justify himself and trying to cope, rather than him actually believing that. Like it was a way sort of driving forward. That's why people monologue, so they can push themselves to do stuff. That's how I took that anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah.
If we are fully moved on to the finale, or are we going to talk about the earlier episodes? I was just going to say that whole fight scene. Whoever designed that whole like landscape they were in and the mist they were in just made the perfect place for a lightsaber battle. It looked so cool. Just the green mist around them and the blue and the red shining out. It was excellent.
The way it like was really dark, but every so often like the blue would just light up his face. I don't know what it was about that, but it was perfect. And one of my notes here, I think I wrote it while Obi-Wan starts crying and calling him Anakin. Like I just put he is like Ewan McGregor is absolutely perfect for that role. Like one of the
Henry can counteract. He doesn't. Has his doubts about him this season. Henry, talk.
Oh, this season, this season I've genuinely thought, because a lot of people have been giving I've forgotten her name. Noah? Is it the actress or actor? We say actor now, don't we? Noah. Is it something Noah or Noah something? Anyway, the actor for Reva. Yeah. People have been giving her a lot of stick because they say she's a bit wooden.
I don't think she is.
Yeah, I didn't really notice it either.
Most of the criticism I've seen for her is based around race and racism. So I've
Oh well, should I just stop then?
No, we can talk about her acting.
Yeah, I didn't think she was as bad as like. Obviously, it's really people are fucking stupid, but like like all of that is just rubbish, and like it should never be about that.
Yeah,
I didn't think she was amazing, but I think I started to think, well, maybe it's just how she was written. Like she wasn't, her conflict wasn't written in her lines well enough. I didn't think Ewan McGregor was that great either. That was what I was leading to.
I think up until the little twist with her character, I don't think she was given much to do. But I think after that, she was given a lot more emotion to like portray, and I think she did it very well.
Yeah, there was
like, when Obi Wan comes up to her and she's like, "Am I going to turn into him?" I thought that was all really, really good.
Her character was not well written for that though. I didn't get that arc at all. That was not her fault, of course. This is more about the writing. But like, I just did not get how she would go from, like this guy killed like innocent people around me, so I'm just going to find some other innocent person that he doesn't know exists yet, that he might be attached to in 20 years when he finds out or something. Just weird.
In her mind, it's just like that's his son.
I know, but you have loads of time to think about that. You have loads of time to think about how illogical that is as revenge.
But her friends were killed as younglings, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like they were kids when they were killed. I guess that's the thought process. Yeah. I mean, Star Wars has never been good for plot armor, has it? So that sort of thing doesn't really.
Yeah, I think that could have been written with a bit more conflict, and then I'd have been fully behind that. But I think the conflict came a bit late, and it was a bit rushed. Maybe, I don't know.
Probably maybe for a TV show, it was like Tom said, it was just too few episodes to explore a character like us. But I think they're going to make
single Disney season.
They're going to make a season 2, I think, and she'll definitely be in it in some form. So
I was wondering what happened with that because people were saying she's not in Rebels, which is apparently next in canon.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what was going to happen to her. I was thinking, what if Owen just pinpointed her at the end?
Should shut her.
that was what I was waiting for. He was good, by the way. He was one of the better actors, I thought. Owen.
Well, Joel Edgerton's a really good actor anyway. So
yeah,
they don't have to have all of these characters in Rebels either. I've seen like the first 2 seasons of Rebels. I don't think Obi-Wan's in it. Oh no, he is in it for one episode.
Was that the one that I got put in the TikTok that everyone was mad about?
Probably. Sounds about right.
Welcome, Mickey, from the TikTok, by the way.
Yeah, they can just, make a whole different story.
Yeah, I suppose I think if the Grand Inquisitor was in there, maybe a bit strange if she wasn't involved in some way. I suppose she's not associated with them anymore. Maybe that's why.
Maybe saying that. Maybe she just gave up on that life and just became like a farmer or something.
I'm glad the Grand Inquisitor. I didn't think it was very logical, but I'm glad the Grand Inquisitor didn't die because I thought he was intriguing.
Yeah, he was cool.
He is the actor, I think, in
Rupert Friend, isn't it? Is it Rupert Friend? Is that his name?
Yeah, and I think he's the guard in Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Who says that? Who's like the really horrible one who like beat up Shmuel? You remember that?
It's been a very long time since I've watched that film.
I haven't watched that since like year 9 German. I don't think.
Yeah,
he is in it according to IMDb. So
yeah, that was in my head because he was quite
Startup too.
He was probably one of sort of gritty parts of that film. So yeah, no, I'm a slight fan of his because I haven't seen a lot of him, but when I have, it's been very distinctive. Vader was so good in this, I thought, by the way. He was the one part that I don't think I ever had a problem with. I thought he was cool in every scene, basically.
I do, yeah. I think it's just, when you've got the voice of James Earl Jones, it's hot. He can make, like, even bad dialogue sound brilliant.
Maybe Hayden Christensen did bring some, like, the body language. Maybe
Hayden Christensen, he brought the body language brilliantly, I think. I genuinely think he had a great performance throughout the show.
He brought the body language.
Yeah, you heard.
What are you talking? He just walked in a line for most of it.
Yeah.
There was the bit where he force pulled the ship was quite cool, and there was a couple of cool moments in the choreography. But surely there would have been someone else doing that with the lightsabers.
I don't know. I assume it was him. Don't know why.
He choreographed. He was part of the lightsaber duels. Obviously, he did all of his own stunts in like Revenge of the Sith and stuff, didn't he? So, don't see why they would have had to outsource for that.
Yeah,
I think they were pretty keen on having people know that it was him there.
Yeah,
I feel like saying he had like amazing body language it's just a bit weird, because I feel like the character of Darth Vader is very like upright. You know what I mean? He just sort of walks around quite menacingly. I know there's obviously there might be a bit of skill to walking around menacingly.
But yeah, I don't know. You don't have an imposing walk, Rory. I must say.
But I'm not trying to.
Yeah,
well, he is.
Maybe it doesn't come easy.
Well, but then surely most of that's down to him wearing the Darth Vader suit.
Maybe.
But would you not say that there was a difference between his body language or his action or movement in general in this film compared to like the 70s, 80s films? I'd say
that they can show him off doing more like lightsaber fighting and more force stuff because they've got the technology to do it now. I'd say that it's more down to that than some sort of body language. I'm not even saying Hayden Christensen was bad in this. I thought at the end he definitely showed like a good acting, like it was a good scene and he delivered it well. I just think that's a weird thing to say, the body language thing.
Well,
I'll have to rewatch
disagree.
I think there was definitely more energy in his movement, and I think that was a fact that was down to the fact that he was meant to be a younger Vader, potentially.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like 27 at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's a rough 27.
Well, yeah, he has been. He's been burnt by some lava.
Yeah, well, excuses, Tom. He's getting the gym.
Yeah, if you got burnt by lava, I don't think you'd be looking too pretty.
Tom, I'd just be walking out of it. I'd be straight at the pub because I'm rock hard.
How old would he have been? So maybe like another 30 years at least. So it'd have been something like 57 in the original trilogy.
The original trilogy's set like 10 years after.
Is it 10 years?
What you thought Luke was 40? And
I didn't think about that. I was thinking about how much
Obi Wan was like 90.
Luke's got a mortgage on that house now.
I was thinking about how much Ben Kenobi looked like he'd aged, and it was quite a bit.
I was thinking
Ben Kenobi's 40 years.
I said 30, didn't I?
Oh, sorry.
I'm not being funny. You look at current Ewan McGregor. He looks about 45, and Alec McGuinness looked like he was on his deathbed.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to put that canonically.
I mean, Alec McGuinness was 62, I believe, in the original trilogy, and Ewan McGregor's like 51. I think there's like 2 years. He's like 2 years older than the time gap.
He must have gone through a lot in that time then.
I've looked at pictures side by side. I think the only real difference is the fact that Ewan McGregor's not grey.
Yeah, that is the problem, I think.
Facially, I wouldn't say there's that much of a difference age-wise, and also they're different people.
Do you think in 10 years, Ewan McGregor would have aged about the same level as Alec McGuinness was in that first?
But you're forgetting one critical thing, Henry. Ewan McGregor drinks child's blood to stay young.
Yeah.
You didn't think about that, did you?
Oh, is he one of them?
Also,
he's one of them.
We said we were going to talk politics on the podcast.
Politics? Are you pro blood drinking or anti blood drinking?
Well, I should say
I'm anti.
There's pros and there's cons.
Tom jumping on the bandwagon.
Bandwagon.
You're
jumping on the bandwagon, I must say, making all this about his age.
Tom, man up. It's just a bit of child's blood.
I've manned up.
Rory, don't say that.
Sorry.
Just stop, mate. Digging yourself up.
Hey, get me knocked off, Rory.
No, okay.
Put in your place.
Back on course.
Still gonna drink it. Right, sorry.
That Vader when he did cut the helmet open, I thought that was quite a creative way of not making it blatant that they wanted Hayden Christensen in the series. I thought that was like quite a natural, organic way of that happening for a start. Because I think I'd have been a bit disappointed if it just lifted his helmet off or something weird like that.
I don't think he would have done that. I think it like kills him.
Yeah,
Well, I
he was
mean,
wheezing.
I like that they had another mask for him, just like ready. He just gets back on his ship, and they're like, "Here you
you
go."
probably
mate."
would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, just in case.
I mean,
To be
but if someone as massive as Darth Vader in the real world had a helmet, I think there'd be a few lined up, wouldn't there?
Yeah. Just
There's
in
a
case.
bit in episode 5, isn't there, where he's sitting down and his helmet's getting changed. So I reckon they got a steady
Maybe
supply.
changes the helmet very often.
Yeah, well, it's hygienic, isn't it?
Yeah, I doubt it would. I don't think it would smell
You're very musky in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
A lot of BO.
Yeah. Well, maybe his pores have been burned out. Then they wouldn't be smelly at all.
Do you reckon the Emperor just walks in his like little clam lair? Just go, oh, it's so stuffy in here, Vader. You out of this room. No, I reckon he does probably change it quite often to avoid that eventuality.
Yeah.
Maybe he can't smell. Maybe the lava burnt his nostrils too much.
Well, no, but it's about other people, though, isn't it, Tom? Because other people I
doubt he cares.
What if he has like?
I doubt he's worried there. Like, I hope they don't think I.
He might have a deodorant trooper who comes in and sprays him up.
Sprays him, yeah. Maybe he has. Maybe inside one of the in the helmet, he has one of those like pine tree things you put in cars.
Oh yeah, what, just hanging out?
Keep it fresh, on his forehead or something.
It would have been funny if when the helmet got cut open, one of them just hung down in front of his
eyes. Just like
pine fresh.
Imagine doing an interview for that as well. Like you're just sitting in front of like Sidious and Vader and like, right, we want someone who's dedicated. We've got a competitive salary here.
We want to see how you hold a deodorant can. Can you hold this short for men for us?
Can you now write a 900-page essay about the art of...
That is an intense interview process.
Well, it would be. It's for the Empire.
Yeah.
They probably have some serious background checks of the Empire, wouldn't they?
No,
they wouldn't want a rebel getting in. Hey, you're a rebel. We're not hiring you. I assume Luke tried that a few times.
The deodorant trooper.
I just like the idea.
That's how you get in. Once you get in with the Empire, Rory, honestly, there's so many opportunities.
I like the idea that in this galaxy,
it definitely seems like a good place to work, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, honestly, they give you a really good pension. I've heard.
Yeah, definitely good schemes. I heard there's a cycle to work scheme.
Oh well, it has to be by nowadays. Well, it's not really it's not really a cycle to work scheme because it's a Death Star, and you can't really leave the Death Star.
Well, a green Death Star is a good Death Star.
Death Stars are massive. You still need to get there.
Do you think half of the Death Star is just living quarters?
Probably.
Like just bunk beds everywhere.
Probably.
Yeah, surely.
There's loads of them in there.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, how would we rate the Obi Wan Kenobi series, fellas?
Before, there's one thing I want to say because I heard stories before I watched it. I heard stories about some stupid moments that happened in it.
Oh yeah.
And there's one moment that I saw on Twitter a lot where people were like, "There's a gate, the laser gate, where they can just walk around it."
Mm-hmm.
And like the way the tweet read is like so stupid. They like they're at this gate and they're like, "Oh, how do we get through?" And then they could walk around it the whole time. It's like I watched the scene. It's not like he's sitting there just dumbfounded about how he's going to get around. He's not like, "Oh my god, what the hell are we going to do?" He literally just goes up there, tries it once, and then shoots it like instantly.
But then why didn't he just go right? He was on a post.
But right? No, it was
left or right or down the middle, and he went down the middle.
I mean, it's a laser thing that he's just seen cut someone in half. I doubt he's probably going to try and turn off the lasers first before he takes a 10-year-old child around them.
Well, just in case Leia goes wandering.
Just in case she falls onto it. Just in case she slips and falls onto it, you would try and turn it off first, and he's there, and it doesn't work, and then shoots it.
That is hilarious, Tom.
But the way people explained it, they were like, "Oh, he's such an idiot. Why doesn't he just go round them?" I'm like, he tries to turn it off and it doesn't work, and then he shoots it. It's not like he's, what are we going to do?
The stupidest thing about it is the fact that he shoots it and then loads of stormtroopers come up because it's obviously set off an alarm or something. If they walk round it might not have set off an alarm. That's
they probably would have heard, if they were that close, they would have heard all the gunfire and screaming.
Well, I don't know. It's just double trouble.
They
I
probably
feel
could
like someone
have
like Obi-Wan
seen the stormtrooper fall off the tower and get cut in half, and they were like, we should check that out.
Well, maybe.
Should we talk about the other stupid bits actually?
Yep.
That's the main one that I didn't think was. I thought the criticism was like unfair.
We'll do this quickly because it's not as undisputed. I remember thinking I thought it was weird how the Grand Inquisitor survived a stab wound, and then they did the exact same thing to Rev and went, "Yeah, we'll leave you to die." Like literally, he was like,
they just left her to die, and just like
we're going to give you the stab wound.
I survived this injury like 2 days ago. We should probably, I do something else.
Should we do a second one? Should we just make sure?
Like Zombieland, double tap.
Just lob her head off, maybe.
Yeah.
No, it's the dark side, so she might have survived. You know.
Well, the dark side does lead to powers that some may think are unnatural, as Palpatine says.
Yeah,
and that is definitely unnatural.
But okay, so the more obvious stupid bits, we'll go backwards because we did the gun shooting thing. Actually, no, we have to go forward then backwards. I think. So there was the one where they were walking through like that hangar, and Leia was underneath the big coat and just peeking out like. It's so Disney. It's exactly the sort of thing I.
It's not even Disney. It's just Star Wars. Star Wars has always been like that.
Did that ever happen in any of the?
Not that specific situation, no.
No, but was it ever like that stupid? I mean, I haven't really watched the sequels. I watched Rogue One and the first Force Awakens. As soon as people said it was bad, I just didn't bother.
I just think there's always been like stupid getaway things like that throughout like the whole of like the franchise. I don't think it's anything new. I think it's hard to recognize the show of it.
Last Jedi is good, by the way, Henry. You should watch that one. I like that film. The stupidest bit that really, really annoyed me and sort of ruined the scene for me was when they were in the hangar trying to get away. When after Leia had done all the wiring and stuff, which was stupid as well because she was looking for that little red pin for about an hour. And I think about 40 people died because she couldn't find it. Was when Vader... well done, Obi-Wan. When the ship takes off and Vader pulls it down with the Force and then rips it open, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And then it's a fake ship and another ship takes off behind it. First of all, that other ship wasn't there. Yeah. Someone needed to pilot it as well, which they weren't in there, obviously. And then also, there's this whole thing about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader having this connection in the Force. Surely he would have been able to sense that he was in the other ship behind that ship.
Maybe he sensed the direction, but no depth.
He got Ellen Teller. Remember the strongest Force ever, connections with the Force ever. Just got done by like
he's over here, but I don't know where. I don't know how far away.
But that was ridiculous. That same episode, by the way, I thought it was interesting how there was a force of about 100 stormtroopers and a very skilled Jedi, and they went, right, take him in with 2 stormtroopers in this place where we can't see him. That'll keep him locked away. And then he must have like knocked him out quite predictably off camera, and then he just got away. And then it's like, oh, we gotta get him again. That didn't work.
And how many times did Obi-Wan in this go, it's me they want, I'll let them take me, and then he just somehow like slipped out of it again? It's just like it was just such
he went and surrendered himself. He went and surrendered himself so he could have a chat to Reva and then just rejoined everyone again. It's like, it didn't work, lads.
Don't go, Obi-Wan! Oh, hello, I'm back. Hello there.
He could have just said. He could have just said beyond the door. If it was his plan to recruit him, he could have just said, "Oh, by the way, do you want to get?" Oh, damn it! You stabbed through the door. I can't talk to her now.
Oh God.
Speaking of hello there, I'm very happy he said it.
Yeah, I like that.
Hello there. Also, I'm surprised none of us have mentioned fucking Liam Neeson.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah, that was very cool.
Which is what I think. The way he was like, "We've got much to do." Second season of this, I think he's going to be in it quite prominently as a Force ghost.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
By the way,
I wonder what will happen. Maybe Darth Vader will find him again.
When he was talking to Leia, when he was talking to Leia at the end, and he was talking about the parents, but he didn't say who it was. I like that bit. I thought that was good. And also there was a bit of Across the Stars in the music. I thought I heard at one point.
To be fair, I liked the whole of the relationship between him and Leia in the show. I think.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
It was mostly good. It was a bit weird and cringe at times. But she
No,
was
I didn't find
decent.
that.
She was
Yeah.
a good actor.
Yeah.
Child actor.
She didn't look 10 to me though. She looked like 6 or something like that.
She did look quite
She's-
young, didn't she?
She's very
10.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they made her
Although-
that way.
What do you mean they made
Yeah.
her that way?
No, I mean like makeup design. All
I
that
thought
kind
you
of
meant
stuff.
like her parents.
Costume.
They planted her in a lab.
They specifically conceived her 4 years earlier.
She was born in 2012, so she is 10.
Oh,
Very young looking for 10.
yeah. She probably gets bullied at school.
Mm.
Not anymore.
Well, especially after that chase scene in the woods.
Yeah.
I was purposely leading up to that because that was the worst part of the series by far. And I know it's a meme. I know I'm not saying anything new, but it was so bad.
It was funny. But again,
Like that bit where the bounty hunter, like that clip that I got on the TikTok where the bounty hunter went right up to the branch and then noticed it was there about half a meter before he got there. Like, what do I do now?
when I saw that clip, I thought it was worse because I thought that they got knocked out by it, but they just go under it. Like the clip before it cuts, it looks like it hits like the branch and just like falls back, but like it just goes under it. So when I was watching it, I was still like, "This is bad," but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
Did you notice after every cut as well, she'd gained ground?
Yeah, it's got rapid little.
So they're about half a meter away from her.
Jedi feet.
And then there was a cut, and it's like 3 meters away. Like she was doing like she was like Mo Farah.
I would have thought like they'd have watched that and been like, we could cut so much of this out because they catch her anyway. They don't need her to get away. They could literally just catch her.
It was useless, wasn't it?
Yeah, like there's no point in prolonging it with like stuff that doesn't make sense.
It was very shrewd of them to ambush her in the woods with 3 men around her. And just there was one woman, wasn't there?
Fun little fact: the main guy who is chasing her is Flea from the Red Hot.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, I thought he was going to shred some bass at some point, but he didn't.
Yeah,
his career's a meme now.
We're waiting for Obi Wan and Reva to get here, so I'll just play you a little ditty while we're here. And I'm bang, 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 bang.
Oh, I would have liked that. That would have been good.
Yeah.
Did you see the rumours, Tom, that Cal Kestis from Thingy might be in the next season of Obi-Wan?
I've seen a rumour that he's going to have his own show, which would be sick.
Oh, that'd be cool as well.
Yeah. I wonder who they'll get to play him.
Probably Cameron.
Cameron
whatever his name is. Yeah,
probably.
I think we were not rating it. Okay, no, I think I can probably rate it. It's really difficult though because I would consider like the ending episode to be like an 8.5 or a 9 because it was very, very, very good. But the rest of the season,
episode by episode and rate them
because that's a long time to do that.
1, 3, 2.
I could
5,
probably go roughly. I'd say like 4, 3, 4. Then
really?
Maybe like a 5 and then a 6 and then a 7 or something like that and then a 9. So maybe I'd probably say overall, because the finale does matter a lot more than the finale is always going to matter more than the rest of the runtime, and so I think that does elevate it like to maybe like a 6.5. I'd say. And I know it sounds. I will still rewatch bits from that finale very often, and there's still value in watching it. But I was bored for a very sizable portion of the runtime, and I was cringing a lot, and maybe it's my own fault for having expectations.
Yeah, I do think my expectations were a lot higher than mine. No, I'm just saying I think your expectations were a lot higher than mine, so I think that might be part of why.
Is that Tom Hardy?
What?
That little impression you just did.
That sounds a little bit like him, I suppose.
I was just speaking.
What,
from your voice? Is that your real voice?
What do you mean?
Tom, do you want to rate it? Do you want to rate the series?
Not often that.
Okay, Rory, do you want to rate the series?
No, I'm joking. I will.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a lot. I think I watched it as just something to have fun with, not to be like too invested in. So I think that helped. I'd say like a 7.5.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I found it really nostalgic. I think I just enjoyed seeing Ewan McGregor back on screen with a blue lightsaber. And the first 3 episodes, I quite liked him in his sort of, like Henry said, his Logan-y phase. I found that quite interesting to watch. There were a lot of goofs though, and like I said, episode 5 really, really annoyed me with some of their logic. So probably give it a 7 overall. Yeah, 7. I'd go back and watch it again. It was fun.
I don't think if you watch it again, watch it in like one go, because I think you'll enjoy it more, maybe appreciate it more.
Yeah. I'd like to see more Inquisitors in real life action stuff, because their spinny lightsabers are very, very cool looking.
Yeah. I'm slightly nervous about this whole like expectations thing, things like the Rings of Power and stuff. Like I don't
have expectations for that either. Like I don't think it's going to be good. So I think if anything, I'll just be.
Yeah, I might try and commit to that as well. Just think, it's probably going to be quite average, and then if anything's good, then it's good. Yeah, at the moment it's so built up. Like this, you've heard so much about how much it's costing, how much time it's taken. There's been castings for like since before the pandemic. I was seeing stuff about. Can we have some weird people to play orcs?
So it said.
It literally said unusual looking people casting call to play orcs.
Why does it matter if they're going to clog them up with makeup anyway and prosthetics?
Well, I suppose there's like, if you were to do like a little spectrum, CGI, prosthetics, actually looking like that.
Yeah, what would you want?
The best version of things. You'd want the person that's already halfway there. You give them a bit of point to their nose.
Imagine an actor goes in, like, they're just like, hi, I would like to audition for the role of Galadriel, and then the director just goes, you'd be perfect for an orc. You don't even need makeup.
Imagine the inverse. Someone goes in to audition for an orc and they come out all bowling it because they've been told they're too good looking. It's too much symmetric.
Your face is way too pretty.
I'll give you a 4.
What is the source material of that Lord of the Rings one? Are they doing the Silmarillion?
I don't think there is.
I don't think it's the Silmarillion. I think they're just making it up.
Well, they're just winging it.
Yeah,
basically.
Oh, right.
You need some pretty good writers to match the lore of like.
I'm surprised Tolkien's estate have let them do that. They're so like stingy with any release of any sort of material.
I don't know much about that, to be honest.
Money.
Yeah, it must have been like, well, obviously they got a massive budget, but it must have been a huge amount of money for something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a bit worried. The vibe's going to change. I mean, even like The Hobbit was the right vibe. It just got things wrong that mattered too much.
Shouldn't have been 3 movies. The book's like 200 pages long. So,
but it was still only small. Yeah, it was still the right. It was still the right vibe, though, wasn't it?
Book, yeah.
It was still fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Martin Freeman's like probably the only person who could do Bilbo that well.
Do you know what? The first 2 films. This is so off topic, and we probably need to end soon. But the first 2 Hobbit films, I think, are really, really good. I remember really enjoying them in the cinema.
I think I'd say the second one fails where it introduces this big bad, and then instead of having him being this like big fight for that film, they save it for the next film and then they kill him within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I'd say that's I get what you mean by that, but that's sort of a fault of the third film, surely. That's just, I guess, that's a fault of planning. Really.
They can all be to blame.
I really like the end of the second film though, like the way it sort of cuts off, and then you hear the Ed Sheeran version.
Also, Benedict, like his voice in that, and like the mocap he did, brilliant. We should probably end this.
Yeah, we should.
We can put in a description. If you want us to talk about Lord of the Rings for 7 minutes, just go to the end.
I say what we do: 10 likes, and we don't talk about Lord of the Rings because that won't happen.
Where are they liking?
Actually, no.
Yeah, what do you mean? We'll have posted this.
A tweet.
They're only going.
We'll do a hype tweet today. Say 10 likes, and we won't talk about Lord of the Rings at the end. and then I'll cut it.
There's no way we're going to get that many likes.
Exactly, Tom. That's when people say one like, and I'll get pissed. And yeah, it's that sort of thing.
Enough.
I'm not going to do that, by the way. I might do a little hype post though, because it's quite a big deal. A lot of people are probably finishing Kenobi tonight, and I want them. The first thing they see is our podcast post.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what they think.
Harmonica solo to get us out.
You found it.
No, bye.